When Donald Trump called your investigation a witch hunt, that was also false, was it not?
I'd like to think so, yes.
Burbank Congressman Adam Schiff, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, led one of the two sessions questioning Special Counsel Robert Mueller and the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election.
Congressman Schiff joins us in studio this morning to talk most importantly about that, but most importantly about what's next. Thanks for waking up with us, Congressman.
My pleasure.
I want to put something on the screen for folks at home, so take a look at this. There it is in black and white. Court papers filed Friday from the House Judiciary Committee. The word impeachment is seen there. To read it from the court filing, the committee has already effectively begun an impeachment inquiry of President Trump as they petition a federal judge to unseal secret grand jury materials related to the Russian investigation. Congressman, the filings say articles of impeachment are under investigation or under consideration, although no final determination has been made. How close are we to real impeachment of the president?
I think as a matter of law and the Constitution, we are what's called preliminary to a judicial proceeding. That proceeding would be a potential impeachment. The Mueller report is really a summary. It's not the evidence itself, and we're trying to bring in the witnesses and obtain the documents so we can decide, do we have enough evidence to take this case to the American people? Now, you actually try the case in the Senate where we do impeach him, but that's a pretty foregone conclusion. The GOP in the Senate is more a cult of personality around the president than a neutral trier of fact. But we want to make sure that if we take this up, that we can demonstrate the case to the American people.
Let's talk more about the Democrats and break it down. 97 Democrats, including 20 of the 46 California Democratic congresspeople like Katie Porter and Harley Ruda in Orange County, who are in two of the Republican-flipped districts, now support impeachment. You have not said publicly your stance. Would you like to this morning? And furthermore, what is next as far as that timeline to impeach or not impeach?
Well, maybe it's that I'm an old prosecutor, but I'd like to see the evidence before I make a charging decision.
Okay.
And we've seen some of the evidence. Certainly Mueller's testimony was very important, but I'd like to get the underlying documents. I'd like to have access to the key witnesses, people like Don McGahn, before making that kind of a decision. This would mean putting the country on probably a year-long course of impeachment. That's a pretty substantial undertaking for the country.
Wow.
It's one that we shouldn't make eagerly. I think we go into that kind of wrenching experience with reluctance and with our eye on the demands of the Constitution. So that's where I'm coming from at this point.
But is there a date? Is there a time when you have to call it, either we're going to do it or we're not going to do it?
I think at some point when we come back from the recess, some point this fall, we're going to either have the evidence or the president will have obstructed the investigation sufficiently that we'll have to conclude that that itself may be a grounds for impeachment, because at some point justice delayed is justice denied. So my sense is when we come back and in the fall, we're going to have to make a decision that we're either going to get the evidence and that evidence is sufficient, or the president has obstructed the Congress and that adds to the obstruction of justice and we need to move forward anyway.
Well, quickly, let's talk about the poll of what Americans think. Do they want an impeachment or not? This was taken. And for you, is the decision to impeach based on public opinions, the politics, or the rule of law? You touched base on that.
Well, it's not based on politics. You know, the calculation, does it help or hurt, you know, with the election in 2020, I think is the wrong question. So I'm trying to determine what does the Constitution require and can we make the case to the American people? And I think we still have more work to do before I can be confident saying yes.
Congressman Schiff, thanks so much for joining us this morning. We do appreciate